Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a very warm welcome to this presentation. Uh, this is our first presentation at INFLO. Let's get disclaimers out of the way. INFLO is our new company, which is a AMFI registered mutual fund distributor, a corporate distributor. We don't charge anything to the clients. All our income comes from the AMCs. This presentation is about our first offering, ZEN Portfolio, and we will discuss who is it for, who is it not for, what all does it entail, and what to expect. Now, so essentially, ZEN Portfolio is for the beginners, people who have just got introduced to the market. Prior to this, they were invested in FDs and savings bank. So it's a pretty low threshold for them, and they're getting introduced to the equity for the first time. Now, typically, and I may be wrong, this is my personal opinion based on the small sample size that I have of my previous advisory clients. Typically, how it starts is that the first timer gets shoved a product, Nifty. I'm saying shoved not in a negative connotation, because what else do you offer? Typically, an advisor would suggest a newcomer to buy Nifty because it's like top 50 companies of the country, a great way of participating in the country's growth. So you basically invest in Nifty. Now, what typically happens when you invest in Nifty is what I call the zoom in, zoom out problem. That's not a known phrase, this is my own invention. And what do I mean by zoom in and zoom out problem? You see, the same graph, when you zoom it in, looks totally different compared to how it looks when you have zoomed it out. And as a first time investor in Nifty, you invariably are shown a very zoom out version of that graph. You see a pretty nice smooth line, 25 years of graph, which clearly shows that there's this 11 to 13% CAGR returns there for the taking, and all you have to do is put in your lump sum amount and you sort it for life. 20 years later, your daughter's marriage time or your son's or your daughter's time to go to Harvard, you simply pluck that fruit out of the tree and you sort it. The Excel calculators are out, the SIP calculators are out, and you exactly know how you fill in the data, and you know मेरा 10 लाख इतने करोड़ बन गया, या मेरा 50,000 रुपये पर मंथ का SIP वो देखो कहाँ तक पहुँच गया. The problem is when you zoom in that same graph. The zoom out picture looks good, the zoom in shows you the drawdowns. Nifty is a bitch for getting you that 11 to 13% CAGR. It goes through a lot of gyrations, and when you zoom in that same chart, you realize कभी 30% का खड्डा है, कभी 20% का खड्डा है, और कभी कभी 55-60% का खड्डा है, and so that's what the problem is. Now, here's a question for you. What is the difference between, say, 9% CAGR and 12% CAGR over 20 years period? Now, we've got a pretty intelligent audience here. I'm presuming that the ex-MWM and MWV clients are listening to this. 9% to 12% looks like a pretty minuscule 3% difference. But this 3% is a CAGR compounded over 20 years, makes for a huge difference. However, this was a trick question, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what the trick question is? Why is this a trick question? क्योंकि फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता whether you're getting 9% or 12%, because you will not get anything. See, that's the entire point. And all the conversations keep revolving around how much percent CAGR your strategy is giving versus mine. तेरे को 9 मिला, मेरे को 12 मिला. Problem is, if you're invested in Nifty, आपको 0 मिला, because you will not stay put. See, on paper it compounds wealth, but in reality there's a 50%, 55% drawdowns, sleepless nights, panic exits. Now, people don't lose because of the markets, they lose because they can't stay invested. So there's a pretty interesting joke that I cracked in one of the blogs I wrote on the same topic. Go through that blog, it's available on our Twitter handle, INFLO's Medium blog. And I cracked a joke that Nifty is like a single-legged table. They look fine, they work fine unless there is some kind of a earthquake or a hiccup. And earthquakes happen, volatility happens, and that single-legged table will fall flat and leave you. You will basically panic and you'll leave the show at the worst possible time, and the compounding journey stops. And so this problem, the difference between 9% CAGR and 12% CAGR is just an academic exercise. आपको तो मिला नहीं कुछ. Now, what's the solution? Are we just going to talk about the problem? No. So the entire purpose of this presentation is to bring home the point that you can actually get Nifty-like returns at half the drawdowns. So this is a back test of a ZEN portfolio from 2021 to 2025. We have a longer back test available as well with a different product. This is a shortened one because the offerings that we have chosen, उसका डेटा 21 से पहले अवेलेबल नहीं है. बट एनीवेज द एज स्टिल रिमेन्स इवन इफ यू यूज अ डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट. We get same CAGR as Nifty, slightly less, almost on the same levels, 13.19 versus 13.31. But look at the drawdown, and that changes everything, guys. We fell only 9%, whereas Nifty fell 16. Now, this is not that pronounced, the difference, because 2021 से लेकर 25 तक कोई मेजर क्रैश आया भी नहीं है निफ्टी में, एंड सो 16% is all they fell. But even here, our ZEN portfolio has shown its class. When you backtest it way further back down and include the Corona crashes and the 2008 crashes and the 2016 crashes, ZEN portfolio shines really well because the same tenets apply. You are basically falling half as much as Nifty, whereas still maintaining more or less the same CAGR. Now, how are we doing this? This is a potent combo. This is a trifecta of factor fund, gold, and debt, the conservative hybrids. Now, this is a scientific blend of three timeless truths. Factor outperform Nifty, gold protects in bad days, and debt stabilizes. And when you combine all these three, it results in a very smooth equity curve. Together, they create peace while compounding. Here's a graphical representation of that. Again, guys, the idea of this product is very simple. And the idea is to stay put. Remove the reason of moving out. This is something I learned while reading the book of Nassim Taleb. And one of the concepts was via negativa. You learn more via negative examples rather than the positive ones. Positive ones have survivorship bias, and so there's hardly any time whether you'll be able to learn anything out of that. But via negativa is a way of life. Like even in this example, how we will compound our money is least of our problems. If you are invested in equity, and if the country grows, invariably you will make money. It's the via negativa that we have to take care, that we have to remove all the reasons why we will basically be thrown out of the party. And the way to remove the reasons which can throw us out are the gyrations and the volatility. And this is what we have done. Look at the difference between the orange line and the blue line, guys. And look at these drawdown graph. Now, as you can see, maybe it's not as pronounced as it in the graph as it should be, but this difference between these two peaks is huge. And this is a difference between you staying put for 20 years and let the compounding do its magic versus getting thrown out in one of these troughs and not coming back ever and losing the gravy train. So here's the conclusion. ZEN Portfolio is basically for first-time investors, people who are getting a taste of moving from FDs to the mutual funds, and they want to get Nifty-like returns, but they're getting chopped out because of the volatility. We have created this beautiful product where you get Nifty-like returns at half the drawdowns, a perfect offering for first-time investors. It works both in lump sums and SIPs. For more information, please email us at info@inflowealth.com. You can tag us at Twitter as well. InfloWealth is our handle, and our website is inflowealth.com. Thank you for your time.